afternoon, my friends, and welcome to another installment of Monday Reload. From very high above all the puerile and insipid forms of Wyoming mainstream media, this is Cowboy State Politics. I, of course, am your illustrious host, David Iverson, firmly ensconced behind the silver Cowboy State Politics microphone and broadcasting to you from the depths of the Middle Swamp in Wyoming's capital of Cheyenne. Good afternoon, my friends, and welcome to the program. Happy Monday. My friends, I had intended to lead today's discussion with something a little substantive. I thought perhaps we could talk about education or we could talk about abortion. They just talked about the heartbeat bill on the floor of the House of Representatives. Yeah, that would have been great. Start out the episode with something that's hard-hitting. But instead, I'm forced to tell you what kind of gigantic jackwagons the Redcoats are. Now, of course, we all know that, and none of what I'm about to tell you is going to come as a gigantic surprise. But my friends, it has to be addressed. You see, there's a lot of things that take place on the floor that have nothing to do with legislation. Now, I'm not referring to everything that's happened over the past 2 weeks. It's absolutely true that none of that has anything to do with why we sent these 93 people down to Cheyenne. Point well taken. Nope. What I'm referring to is the person who has been put in charge of this super special investigative committee taking advantage of his newfound position on the floor of the House of Representatives and litigating what was supposed to happen inside a committee room on the floor of the House, and using that in an effort to defeat an amendment. I know, sounds childish and a little bit complicated, but let me set the stage for you. The bill was House Bill 52, and they were debating an amendment that was brought by Representative Marlene Brady. To be perfectly frank, I can't stand these types of amendments. The ones that people bring on third reading and try to change the entire bill into something that it wasn't intended to be. It really kind of irritates me. But House Bill 52 was the bill that would have mandated random hand counts after elections. Representative Brady attempted to turn that into hand counting all elections. Gigantic changes, to say the least. Now, we can talk about the merits or lack thereof of hand counting all elections at some other time. What I want to talk about right now is how Representative and Chairman of the Extra Super Special Investigative Committee, Art Washut, treated her on the floor. Another important piece of this whole thing is that Representative Brady is probably going to end up being one of the people that Art Washut is illegitimately investigating for this stupid check thing. And just to be clear, it's the investigation of this whole non-rule breaking, non-law breaking thing that I'm calling stupid. So anyway, Representative Brady is probably going to have to endure Art Washut's nasally questions, way more than usual, that is. The last piece I have to tell you about this whole thing so that you get the full picture is a little bit about Representative Brady herself. If you're around her, one of the first things that you'll notice is that she takes notes for everything. She's a very detail-oriented person, and she just has the personality that she wants to have everything on paper in front of her before she says anything. I'm sure many of you have similar personalities. So anyway, Representative Brady is up at the podium. She's given her speech, and she finishes, and then Art Washut says this. Tell me, after you've heard it, if you don't think that he is the biggest jerk you've heard all day long.
I'd also just like to comment that when members read their testimony at the microphone, it causes me some pause to wonder, are we hearing testimony from the representative or from someone else? And so I just encourage all the members to speak your heart when you come to the microphone
So if anybody reads from notes because they want to make sure that they have everything down correctly, that automatically means that those aren't their own thoughts. That's outrageous. And it's a pretty insulting thing to say. But because Art Washut himself said it, it's way worse because he's probably going to have Marlene Brady in front of his committee. And just to be very clear, nobody in this whole check thing broke any laws or broke any rules except Carly Provenza, Mike Yin, and Matt Obrecht. If you haven't read the article that I wrote for the Open Range Record concerning what I just told you, I'll put a link to it in the show notes so you can just click on it. Okay, let's take a quick break and then we'll finish up the program. Today's edition of Monday Reload is brought to you by the Buffalo Wool Company. If you want a pair of socks that'll keep your feet toasty warm no matter what it's doing outside, go to their website, thebuffalowoolco.com. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. Today's program is also brought to you by Morton Buildings. No matter what type of structure you're thinking about for your property, you need to call Marcos and Jesse at Morton Buildings. Their phone number is 307-674-2532, or you can check them out at their website, mortonbuildings.com. And now, back to the program. So really what Art Washut was saying is that Marlene Brady is doing what somebody else told her to do on the floor of the House. Let's listen to what he said again.
When members read their testimony at the microphone, it causes me some pause to wonder, are we hearing testimony from the representative or from someone else?
See? That's exactly what he's saying. If it were anybody else, we could absolutely write this off as them just being a jerk. But because he's the chairman of this special investigative committee, I wish they'd come up with a better name of it because I'm really sick of just referring to it as the investigative committee as if it's some sort of monolithic thing that's of really tremendous importance. But because he's the chairman of that committee, we have to take what he said literally. Add on top of that I know for a fact that Art Washut is not a fair or honest broker. It really doesn't give me that warm, fuzzy feeling. Here's why I say that. It was Art Washut that set up an off-the-books meeting of his Judiciary Committee to try to resurrect one of the bills that conservatives had killed. By the way, if you're wondering, there are no off-the-books meetings of committees. If there is a quorum, it has to be public and it must be noticed. Now, the meeting that I'm referring to, that didn't exactly happen. Well, anyway, I found out about it and walked into the committee room, and then Art Washut threw me out. He threw a member of the press out of an illegal meeting that he was holding. Please tell me, how honest is Art Washut really? Now, the story I just told you happened during the 67th legislature, but if they'll do it once, they'll do it again. And I just played for you what he said on the floor, so you can make up your own mind. Personally, I don't think that there's any question. Now, right after Art Washut said that, Landon Brown did this. Listen.
So I pulled up some statistics here really quick just to kind of try to find out registered voters in different counties. And we range everywhere from Niobrara County being 1,600 voters, which I would think this would be a very easy process for 1,600 voters to be hand counted, to 5,500 in Sublette County, 3,800 in Hot Springs, 8,000 in Bighorn County.
Okay, that's enough of that. But do you think that Art Washut jumped up and accused Landon Brown of reading the notes from one of his overlords? Of course not, because it doesn't matter what Art Washut's team does. It only matters what conservatives do. Now, maybe you think that I'm making too much out of this, and perhaps I am, but I don't think so. When the chairman of the committee that's investigating the very person that Art Washut is addressing, I think it's pretty clear what he means. The attitude of the Redcoats towards really anybody else on the floor has never really been any different. Here's another thing that they do. They continually remind the other members of the floor, well, you know, for those new folks here, this is how we do it around here. Here's Landon Brown saying that.
For those of you who are new here, though, for those of you here that have not been through a budget process, there's two things that are wrong with what's going on right now. Number one, you're being asked to make a major policy decision.
See what I mean? Yeah, you're too stupid to know what's happening on the floor, so allow me to explain it to you. The only thing that makes it better is that Landon Brown won't be receiving any awards from Mensa anytime soon. On a lighter note, and since we're kind of on this subject, I couldn't resist replaying Representative Julie Jarvis being told that she can't read from ChatGPT on the floor. This happened Friday evening. Here, take a listen.
So I got out my phone and I got on ChatGPT and I put in, please convince people, much like my significant other, that have spending remorse, why CDC is a good thing. And this is what it told me. Child Development Services through CD.
Hey,
Sorry.
Represent, no, wait a minute. I don't think we're supposed to be reading directly from,
Oh, I can't read directly? Okay,
Yes.
I'll summarize it.
there you go. Thanks.
Yeah, I know. Now, do you think that Art Washut jumped up right after Julie Jarvis said that? Do you think that happened? No, didn't give Art Washut any pause that she was reading from ChatGPT. Well, anyway, my friends, that'll about do it for today's edition of the program. On tonight's installment of the Roundup, Agent 29 is going to join me, and we're going to talk about all things budget. I'm actually pretty excited about it. I haven't been able to sit down and do a show with him for this entire session. So that'll be tonight at 7 p.m. on the Open Range Record. But for now, from the depths of the Middle Swamp in Wyoming's capital of Cheyenne, I'm David Iverson, and this is the one and only Cowboy State Politics.